At 2:17 a.m., on a freezing Tuesday in Montana, a waitress named Clara poured her last cup of coffee. Her shift was over. The truckers had paid their tabs. The fryer was cooling down. She didn't know that the man sitting alone in booth number 4 had been missing for 11 years. She didn't know the FBI had already closed his case, calling it a voluntary disappearance. But Clara noticed something that night, something so small, so quiet, that everyone else had missed it. And by the time she turned off the neon sign, she had done what no detective could. She solved the impossible. This is the story of the waitress who cracked a cold case. To understand what Clara did, we have to go back 11 years. In 2009, a young father named Ethan Marsh lived in Billings, Montana. He was a construction foreman, a reliable man, the kind who showed up early and coached his daughter's soccer team on weekends. One cold November morning, Ethan left his house to pick up a birthday cake. His daughter Lily was turning 8. He started his truck in the driveway to warm it up. Then he went back inside to grab his wallet. And then, he vanished. The truck was still running. The coffee was still warm. The birthday gift sat untouched. Police searched for 6 months. They questioned neighbors, followed leads, searched across multiple states. They found nothing. Eventually, the case went cold. The FBI assumed he ran away. The file was closed. 11 years passed. Life moved on. Ethan became nothing more than a story people whispered about. Meanwhile, Clara Benson was working the night shift at a small diner off the highway. She was a single mother, putting herself through community college. She had worked that same counter for 3 years. She knew her customers. She noticed details. And on March 3, 2020, that attention to detail changed everything. At 1:45 a.m., a man walked into the diner. He wasn't a regular. He looked tired, but not like a trucker. He wore a worn jacket and kept his head low. He ordered black coffee and paid in cash. Clara poured the coffee and went back to her textbook. But something felt off. The man didn't drink. He just sat there. Staring. After 15 minutes, he spoke. "Do you ever think about people who just vanish?" Clara laughed nervously. It wasn't a normal question. "Sometimes, I guess." "Why?" The man leaned forward. "I heard about a guy from Billings. Disappeared years ago. Ethan, something. You ever think maybe he just wanted to disappear?" Clara froze. Because she knew that story. And she knew something the public didn't. Ethan Marsh would never leave his daughter. Not for anything. The man finished his coffee and left. But Clara couldn't forget what he said. Instead of going home, she drove to the library. At 5 a.m., she sat in front of an old computer, reading everything she could find about Ethan Marsh. Article after article. Detail after detail. Until she found something buried deep in the archives. Ethan had a twin brother, Mark Marsh. The original investigation had cleared him. He had an alibi. But Clara kept digging. And then she found it. An old social media post from 2009. A fishing photo. With a date that didn't match his alibi. It was a small detail, but it didn't fit. Clara called the police. They didn't take her seriously. They told her the case was closed. Most people would have stopped there, but Clara didn't. The next morning, she drove to Mark's property. A rundown farmhouse, quiet, isolated. She didn't go inside. She walked along the tree line behind the house. She searched for anything unusual, and then, she saw it. A small piece of metal sticking out of the mud. She knelt down and brushed away the dirt. It was a watch, old, scratched. She turned it over, and engraved on the back were 4 words. "To Ethan, love Dad." Clara immediately called the highway patrol. This time, they listened. Within hours, a search team arrived. They scanned the area. 50 yards from the house, near a dry creek bed, they found a shallow grave. Inside were the remains of Ethan Marsh. He had been there for 11 years. Just a mile from his brother's home. Mark Marsh was arrested that same day. Under questioning, he confessed. A fight over inheritance had turned violent. He killed his brother and buried the truth. The case was solved in less than 2 days. A case that had been cold for over a decade. All because one woman paid attention. Today, Clara Benson is a detective, and she teaches new recruits one simple lesson: pay attention. The answer is almost always hidden in the details everyone else ignores. Ethan's daughter is now grown. She finally has answers. She finally has a place to visit. All because someone refused to look away. If you believe ordinary people can do extraordinary things, subscribe for more stories like this. And remember, sometimes the smallest detail can change everything.